Hey everybody, welcome to this amazing video about responsive navigation in Foundation. So hopefully you've already taken a look at some of the other navigation components that are modular that build up to create a responsive navigation. If you haven't already, those are in our documentation under the navigation category. So I would start with menu, drop down menu, drill down menu, and accordion menu. We have videos there for all of those. And also top bar, which is a visual styling. Now when you want to put it all together and create a responsive navigation, that is very doable with all of these components that we've already covered. So I'm going to show you some ways to put together a responsive navigation using the modular components in Foundation. So let's start with the very most basic responsive navigation, which is the responsive menu. So we'll hop over into our demo here, and we have a menu. So it's a UL with a class of menu. Now we can make this vertical, and with the vertical class, it's going to be vertical all the time. So that means it's 100% width right now, and then also vertical for every breakpoint. Now if I want to override that and make that horizontal on medium, which I do. So we'll add the medium horizontal class on there. And now you can see that it has the vertical class and the medium horizontal class. So what that means is on small screens, it's going to be vertical, as you can see here. And then we're overriding that on medium and larger screens to be horizontal, as you can see here. So this is a mobile first pattern, so that's why vertical works for small and up unless it's overridden by another class, which is medium horizontal here. And of course, if you want to do this large horizontal, you can do that instead. So that is also available. It's going to be vertical on small and medium until it hits the large breakpoint, which I can't even reach on the screen. So that is also an optional class. Now we can switch different types of menus depending on the breakpoint also. So let's say we have a drop down, we could change that to a drill down on a small screen. So what I have here is a vertical menu that has some drop downs. Now it looks like a flyout at this point because it's a vertical menu and these are horizontal. So those are typically called flyouts, but it's really like a drop down pattern. So what we have set up here in our code, let's take a look, is a UL with a class of vertical and a class of menu. And so what this does is it creates a vertical menu. Now I've set a fixed width to this just so for the demo purposes so you can see that. And what we also have is a data-responsive-menu attribute. Now what this does is it tells the JavaScript, hey, this is a responsive menu, and I want you to look for the arguments within it. So the arguments right here are these two things. So we have drill down and medium drop down. So just like our mobile first classes, we can do this mobile first as well for the JavaScript and say that, hey, on a small screen, I want you to be a drill down. And then on a medium and larger screen, I want you to be a drop down. And so that's what we have here when we get to a small screen. It has now changed behavior into a drill down menu. So that's pretty cool. When you get a drill down menu, you get a nice little back button and it slides through the different levels. And we could change this to another option, which is accordion. But let's do that on a medium screen. So let's go medium dash accordion. Let's say, I don't know, an accordion just works better for our content on a medium and larger screen. So what we're going to do then is open up to a medium screen and now click this open. Now you can see this is behaving like an accordion. So third level doesn't have anything, but there we go. So you can see that now we can change behavior between a drill down and an accordion just based on the screen size. So the only thing we did was we added a data-responsive menu attribute to the UL with the class of menu. So a pattern that you're probably even more familiar with is that on a small screen that you'll change the menu or you'll hide the menu in some kind of hamburger icon. So let's go ahead and show you how to set that up with responsive menus. So we're going to be creating something like this. So on a larger screen you have maybe some drop downs, but then on a smaller screen we have our hamburger icon here with a mobile menu. So you can see that it has a nice drop down and then maybe a drill down setup for your sub menus. So this is a very common pattern. We're going to show you how to set this up now. So there's a couple different ways to set this up. So we're going to start with the code from the docs. So the code from the docs, you can find it over here. We have a section called responsive toggle, and this shows you how to set up a basic kind of mobile bar that has a hamburger icon that toggles your top bar menu open. So this is a combination of Foundation's top bar and Foundation's title bar to make a responsive navigation. So let's take a look at what that looks like. So the code is as follows. We'll use a title bar. So you can just copy the code directly from the docs. I'm going to make the screen just a little bit smaller so we can see the code first, and then I'll show you the example. So we have a div with the class of title bar, and this data attribute is data-responsive toggle. And it has an ID here that it's pointing to, which is example menu. We can change this to anything you want, so main nav. So this is important that this ID matches the ID of your navigation. So in this case, we're pointing to this top bar over here, so we better call that main nav as well. So this ID needs to match, and you need to spell it right. There we go. And so that way everything works as expected. So that's important. This data-hide for medium is an attribute that controls when this title bar is hidden and shown as a mobile menu. So this black bar that you're seeing here that says the word menu and has the hamburger icon is this title bar code here. So this is being shown and hidden depending on the screen size. So this is saying that on a medium and larger screen, hide this. So we can actually change this to small, which means that it will hide the title bar all the time. So that's probably not what we want to do. What we can do is also change this to something larger. So we could go to large. So let's say we want the hamburger icon to show on medium and small, but then expand back out to a full-size menu. On large screens, you could definitely do that with show for large. If you leave this blank or empty, it's always going to be a hamburger icon, and always use the mobile menu pattern. So those are some different options there. But medium is the default, so let's set that back to medium. Okay, and then over here, our other options are, or this button here is creating the menu icon. So button with the class of menu icon actually creates this hamburger icon here. So that's something you can use. If you choose not to use that or your own custom hamburger icon, you can omit this class. And this data-toggle is actually important also because this is what toggles the menu open. So this ID needs to match as well. So let's change this to our new ID, which is main-nav. So now that those IDs match, when we click this, we're opening up our top bar dropdown. Now you can see there's some setup here that we could do to make this more mobile friendly. So let's go ahead and do that. And I purposely left this example this way so I could show you how to configure this. So a couple things we need to do is to set up this UL with a class of drop-down and menu. So right now this is set up for a desktop screen. So the class of drop-down and the class of menu is how you would have it on a desktop screen. And data-drop-down menu creates that drop-down. So we're going to switch this over to our responsive classes. So first of all, let's make this menu the right configuration. So first of all, we want to make it vertical on a small screen. And then on medium and up, we want it horizontal. So just like I showed you before, it's the same thing, but now we're contained inside of the left side of top bar. So you can see that on a large screen, we're still horizontal and we still have a drop down. But then on a small screen, now the menu is vertical. So great. So now it's starting to look more like it should on a mobile navigation. And so the last thing we need to do is set up the data-drop-down menu plugin. So let's hop over to our example here that has that set up. So let's take a look at that UL. So I'm going to make this a smaller screen so we can actually see it. I'm going to add the dark class to the menu icon. You can actually swap the colors just with a simple class depending on the darkness of your top bar. So in this case, we have our UL with a class of drop-down menu, vertical, medium horizontal, and menu, just like we were just showing you. So now we added, instead of data-drop-down, we changed this to data-responsive menu. And so again, this is what's going to make the menu responsive. And we're going to make it a drill down on small screens and on medium and larger a drop down. So that's what's creating this behavior now, that it acts like a drill down on a small screen instead of a drop down. So that's how you can set up a responsive navigation with top bar. There is also a way to do this without the title bar like we showed you here. So this black bar is the title bar. You can do this just with top bar itself. If we hop over to the top bar documentation, I'll show you where that is. So if you scroll to the advanced layout here with top bar, then you'll see this example that you can pretty much just copy and paste into your site. And now you know how to set it up for a responsive navigation. So a lot of different components that can make up your navigation. You can have a lot of different configurations. The cool thing is that you're not constrained to just one type of navigation as you were with Foundation 5 and Foundation 6. It's more modular, more customizable, and now you know how to do that. So if you're looking for a deeper dive into Foundation, we teach all of this and a lot more in our Intro to Foundation class, so make sure you check that out. I'll put a link below. Thank you for watching.